few months ago, I found this 6-year-old horse trailer on Facebook Marketplace for just £650 with one goal in mind: turn it into a coffee trailer. Since then, I've ripped it apart, removing the sides and tailgate, which uncovered a lot of rust. So I got to work at removing as much as possible, including eating some in the process. I then repaired and awarded new sections, painted the frame, and even cut a brand new serving hatch. I then added a fresh new floor, and it's finally time to start working on the inside. In this video, I'll be painting the ceiling, including taking down that old piece of wood, adding wooden framing, insulating the walls with thermal wrap, and then finally laying down a brand new lino. Let's get started. Quick coffee before we begin. So this is the plan. Like I said, I'm going to grind that back, sand down all the rust, take that off, and we should be ready to paint it. Hey, welcome back guys to another horse trailer renovation video into our lovely coffee trailer. So our first task is to remove that piece of wood that's on the top, and we're going to see what's underneath it. We're going to see how bad where the ceiling meets up and if there's any leaks. So let's get that done. There we go. Off. Just held in by screws, not rivets, and a few bolts. And something bigger. Not bad. So all I'm going to do, some of it looks like it's sealed, but I'm going to try and seal it all the way along, top and bottom, just to make sure it's watertight, and we should be good. And then put a new piece of wood up. Probably fill some of those holes because there's way too many. I'll probably just rivet them from the bottom. That should work. So before we crack on with filling that, I realised that I probably should clean it up a bit. So as I had the grinder out anyway, I decided to clean up all the walls first, and then we'll tackle everything as we go. This is when you feel like you should have left it. Those holes. Daylight, 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 daylight. I'm sure I can keep grinding them back, but I don't know if I want to. Definitely been filled before though. I've got this one to do. It feels like it's been filled. It's already daylight there. This is not going to be fun. So I just went up onto the roof and they're all like it. So I need to think of a solution. Just an aluminium strips. Oh, wonder it. Could work. Just glue it on, rivet through it. Expensive though. Let's carry on. So after that moment of pondering, I decided to carry on and get this thing stripped back as much as possible, grinding back the rust and the dirt that was still attached to the roof, and then got rid of some of those old rivets. Okay, so now I've got rid of all those rivets. Yeah, under here, all the way along, and fill it with some like leaky stuff. What was it? Stuff I've been using the whole time. This sticks all waterproof stuff, so I'll stick that all along and then re-rivet it. Whew. There we go. Let's have a look. I mean, I thought I put loads up there, but maybe I need some more. Next, we're gonna rivet up all those holes to close it all. So all I'm doing here is popping in some brand new 6mm rivets to attach those two roof panels back together again. Then we're going to tackle the holes in the sides. Time to fill some gaps. What are we filling with? A big boy filler. Homes, cars and boats. Hopefully, they will do the trick. Gaps filled, we'll let it dry, then we'll sand it back, and then we'll seal the other side, and then see if it leaks. Right, here we go. So this has had time to set now, so we're going to sand these down. Likely going to need a bit more filling, and we're going to see what it comes out like. So let's get to it. So this was actually a nice, satisfying job, although it was really dusty, and I come out covered. So I started with the sandpaper wheel on the angle grinder, and then I started sanding by hand just to finish it off. It's come up alright, it's smooth, but it's just lumpy where it's been filled before. So I reckon there's a few little gaps I might need to fill still, so I might just go over it, fill those, and then we'll paint it. We're going to paint this black, and if it shows bad, then I'll cover it with an aluminium strip, and that'll look quite nice. So yeah, we'll do that. So we're actually going to start painting later on in the video. First, I'm just going to prep everything so it's ready, and then we're going to move on to building the frame. This will add strength to the trailer itself, and it'll give us something to attach our walls onto. So here's the issue. When we shut this door, it doesn't shut properly at the bottom. But when we push the top in, I'll do it one-handed, it shuts a lot better. So what's happened is, can you see it? The frame's bowed slightly on both sides. It's not because of the hatch, but it's probably worse because the hatch is in. So the hatch also doesn't shut very well. So we are going to build a frame, attach it along here, along the uprights, and hopefully that will help pull all this in. It moves quite easily. So that's the plan. Right, so if I bring him over here, you see, so the bottom's in, top's in, and if I imagine this is a piece of wood, if I pinch that in, that's going to help. Look how far I can get that in, and that's going to straighten out all this wall, and then that door will shut properly, which is the main issue. That door's not shutting, so that's the plan. Straighten out this, and we'll get that door shut properly. Let's go. So for the frame, I'm just using some 2x4 CLS. And I'm just being careful to make sure it fits flush to the wall, because this actually sticks out quite far. So we do lose quite a lot of space. Well, not a lot of space, but we do lose space inside the trailer because of this. But it's necessary to make sure that the trailer itself is strong and the hatch shuts and the door shuts properly. So if you didn't know, timber is stronger, or this timber is stronger if you lay it in a certain direction. For example, if you had a roof and you laid it the wrong way, the roof would dip. So it's designed to be stronger one way or the other. So this is why we're laying it as we are. But as a consequence, we lose a little bit of room inside. Let's just pop a few bolts either side, and then that's done. Ready? Door shuts. That's literally just with 1 and 2. And then once I get those in, that in, and that's not even attached to anything. Hold on. No, so there's still a bit more. There's a bit more to give here. Top's not attached, so that should straighten it out proper good. Right, I'm gonna finish it up, and then I'll come back and show you what I've done. So I lied. We painted. So I was really impatient and couldn't be bothered. So me and the missus, we painted the roof. and the hatches and everything we could with some black paint, which was a bit of a pain to get on, and actually it was pretty expensive for what it was. Welcome back. We're in the very dark trailer. This is what we've used now, Fortress Trade. Such a nice finish. The other stuff was awful and double the price for a third of the size tin. So we're gonna finish off the last coat and then we'll be ready to do the rest of the framing. Yeah, so let's quickly, there you go, that's why. It's not quite 100%. But yeah, let's get on. Cool, that's that done. We're gonna finish off the framing and then we're gonna do the firm wrap on at the same time. This is gonna be extended up, but the rest of it's gonna stay that height. So yeah, let's get that ready and let's go. This was pretty straightforward, so I didn't explain earlier what I did. So to keep these uprights in, I've attached them to the metal or the steel uprights of the trailer. So I've just drilled through. Some of them are with a nut and bolt and some of them are with like big chunky screws. So that's really secure and also help pull in the frame. So where I needed to really pull it in, I used a nut and bolt and then just supported it with a screw. Right, there we go. That's in and secure. I'm just going to check the levels and then tighten the bolts as I need to. Okay, now that's done, we're going to put some thermal wrap in before we put in the supports. So we're going to attach our boards to. Yeah, let's go. Here we go, back to my favourite job so far. Putting the thermal wrap on. So this is just easy, spray it on, stick it on. I went round the wood but then I actually cut that off because I realised that when I went to screw something on it wouldn't fit. So if you missed it before, thermal wrap is a foil backed bubble insulation and it helps to reduce heat loss and prevent moisture passage. It also blocks condensation, improves energy efficiency, and yeah, it's pretty good. It just helps keep the cold out the trailer and the heat in basically. So this here was a vent, and as you can see it's behind our wall, so that's going to cause a problem later on. So what I've done is I've used a bit of the old aluminium that I'd cut off the hatches, cut it to size and just glued it on to block it out, and then I've gone over with the thermal wrap. And then with most of that thermal wrap on, I can go ahead and just put the last bit of framing around that hatch. This is pretty easy to do. Again, I attached it to the uprights of the steel frame that's already there. So, and then back hatch done. Then last bit I need to do is that door frame. So I just put in the last little bit of framing around the door. And then again, that helped pull it in a little bit more. I didn't have to take the door off of this because that part of the trailer was actually okay. And then it was time for the lino. This is the bit I've been looking forward to for so long. So this lino cost about £50 from B&M. So for anyone not in the UK, B&M's like a bargain store basically. At first, I thought it'd be a good idea to try and measure it and then cut it outside and bring it back in again. But then I realised that that wasn't going to happen. So I just rolled it out, threw it in, pushed it into the edges, cut around it, and then I had my floor fitted basically. And then I can just glue it all down. Right. Boom. There we go. Look in. Lovely. Now I've just got to decide whether to keep those up or to trim them down. I'll probably trim them down, but for now I'm going to leave them up and then I'll decide when I put the work units in how it looks. My theory is it will keep the water out of the wood at the bottom if we have a spillage. So that's my theory. So yeah, floor pretty much done. I'm going to trim that down and then we're done. There we go, trimmed for now, all good. And then we are pretty much there. So next time we can now get in our worktops, then we can fix these in properly when we know how high the worktops are going to go. So we've got something to fix the worktops and the cables too. Yeah, done.